Hello, hello, hello.
Hey.
How you doing? Look,
Much
she's
better
right
than
here. How is everyone doing today? Welcome. It is day 9 of our creative photo tips class. We're so excited to see so many people here. Hi, Diana. Hi, Debbie and Kate. Hi, Laura. Hi, Lucia. Who else we got with us? Donna. I love it. All you ladies are here with us. Thank you for joining us. We are super excited to dive in. We are at the very end of week 3. Can you guys believe there's only one more week of these? Who's been joining us from the beginning? Who's been here hanging out with us doing these 12 photo tips since the very beginning? Don't worry, we will be reviewing. But we wanted to wrap up this week of a bit more advanced tips with a little special surprise. Of course, Alicia being here, we have some really fun things we've got going on this weekend. We'll be telling you more about it.
But it is. It's nice to be together on the screen.
Oh, thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Yes, it is. It's kind of cool, right? You know, she's a real person. She's not just some avatar I'm talking to. So what we are going to do today is a little bit different than we have been. And what we're doing is giving you guys a bit of a sneak peek and a practice, I think, for you and I, for tomorrow's classes. So before we dive into what we're going to do today and tip number 9, I want to hear from you guys. 8 tips you've got under your belt now. And I know this isn't the first time you've thought about photography. So how do you feel now? How does it feel? Do you guys love these tips? Do you like them? Are they just so-so? I want to hear from you guys. Are they helping you literally see life through a new lens? Have you started to imagine things differently and bring your stories to life? So if you are joining us live, go ahead and type into the chat box. Keep that interaction going. And if this is helping you out and you're loving it, I want to hear, what kind of photography are you guys into? Like, are you shooting sunsets and landscapes and, nature? Are you into portraits and people? Do you love a business that you're getting ready to bring to life and you want to capture products and maybe services that you offer? So I want to hear from you guys. What are some of the things, these stories that you're bringing to life, and what kind of camera are you using? So there's a reason I'm prompting today's tip with that, because different types of stories, different kinds of cameras, different goals are going to make today's tip be different for everybody, okay? So we've got landscape. Okay, cool. So landscape is great. Okay. Kate says, I think they've helped me more of a direction and purpose when I'm shooting my photos instead of just pointing and clicking. That is exactly the point. I love it. You're feeling like you're creating that story. Okay, perfect. Landscapes and family. You love that this is helping you learn your camera. Portrait photography. Perfect. This is awesome. So
I see things now in a different way. Yes, that is huge. When you start to see in life differently and how you're viewing it through your viewfinder. Absolutely.
Exactly. And we get excited about this, guys, because it still happens for us to this day. And we know for the rest of our lives, if we decide to pick up the camera, we're going to have that. We're going to have these all moments, right? Where we're like, wow, I brought that to life. So it should continue to get more exciting here out, okay? So before I get into today's tip, the reason I'm asking these questions, what kind of shots do you like and what kind of cameras? Tell me what kind of cameras you guys are using. Are you using DSLRs, mirrorless, your cell phone? By the way, none of which are bad. We don't think there's anything called bad or good here or right or wrong. All cameras are great. It's about what camera you have with you that's available to take that shot, right? To bring that story to life. Yeah. I know.
Sometimes we only have our phones on.
Yeah.
So.
Actually, if you look at our stories on Instagram today, Alicia jumped up out of her chair to photograph this cool graffiti art on another chair on the side of the road. We were just obsessed, and all we had was our cell phone. So all phones are good. Good. Debbie's talking about her mirrorless, but I know she loves to use her cell phone as well. The D60, is that a Canon, Lucia? Oh, a Nikon. Okay. And then the D80 Nikon and an iPhone. Perfect. So both of us were using mirrorless, DSLRs, and cell phone cameras. Okay. So I know I'm prefacing a lot, but before we get to number 9's tip, just keep in mind all of your tools, your cell phone, your mirrorless, your DSLR, they're different tools. They're going to use this tip differently, which means you have to step into the moment even more and pay attention to the type of camera you're using to bring this tip to life, okay? So Are you all ready? You ready for the tip?
Yeah.
You want to tell them?
We got to fill your frame.
Fill your frame. So what does that mean, guys? What does it mean to fill your frame? Well, maybe the first word that comes to mind is zoom, right?
Mm-hmm.
But instead of zooming with your camera, which right there should tell you guys there's different ways our cameras zoom, right? Maybe you have a different kind of lens on your cell phone than you do on your Nikon. So different zooms are ways to fill your frame. But before you zoom in on your camera, I want you always to zoom in with your feet, is what we like to say first. Use your feet
physically closer.
Exactly. That's what it really means to fill your frame. So tomorrow we are going to be teaching a portrait photography workshop for beginners. It's a great class. If you have already stepped into manual mode a little bit and you're having fun getting out of auto mode, it's a great class to understand the world, the basic beginnings of portrait photography. So we're going to talk more about this tip tomorrow too. If you guys are here today and you know you're going to join us tomorrow, keep that in mind. We're going to dive into specifically portraits tomorrow with this tip. So the thing we're going to do today is we're going to demonstrate what it looks like to be behind the camera and in front of the camera, because we got two of us here. So we can show you what it really feels like to do this in the moment. Okay, guys? So before we demo, I want to show a picture that we just realized I have printed here. And it's a perfect explanation of being in the moment and realizing what kind of tool I had. And by using this tip, we could make this picture way better, right? So I'm going to show it, and I'm going to let Alicia tell you the story behind this picture. Okay, ready? Can you guys see this?
Come back a little bit. There you go. So this is a perfect representation of filling your frame. We were in the middle of a American road trip. I can't remember exactly where, but I think
this was called Williams, Arizona. We were trying to get to Sedona, and we were missing the sunset. You see that sun about to set on us. So I pulled over and made Alicia.
She had a convertible Mini Cooper, so I was able to stand up, you know, in the Mini as she's driving slowly through this tunnel. And I was able to get this shot, right, standing in the car. But it was that perfect moment. She knew it. She was driving stick, and I'm sitting there like, I got to get the shot.
She kept saying, get closer, get closer, get closer. And I'm like, is that close enough? I would drive a little bit, slam on the brakes, drive a little bit, slam on the brakes. But before I give you like the gist of like what makes this unique, yes, filling the frame, right? You can't see the whole tunnel, right? So she called it a tunnel. I want to ask a really basic question without me giving you my like visual of this. How big do you think this space is that we're going through? Like she said the word tunnel. There's another word that comes to mind for me. You guys who are with us live, just play this game with us.
The other word?
You don't even know. So, like, how big do you think this space is? And this is a trick question. That is the point of this tip, guys. Okay. So when we fill our frame, do you have your, here it is right here. Read off. What Alicia's about to read for you is exactly what we have as our definition for this. And it's in our free ebook, which you guys can get at livewonderful.com/free book. It is our top 10 tips for telling stories. Some of them are here. So tell them exactly what it says to fill your frame.
All right. So the closer you physically get, the bigger your subjects will look. All right. So even just looking at this picture right here, you'll be able to tell that. Filling your frame means to literally fill your viewfinder with only what matters to your story. Always remember that.
Yes.
This creates intimacy and leaves a feeling of mystery behind. By pulling your frame closer and cutting off the edges, you can give a viewer the sense that they are right there inside the image.
Okay. So does that
I go right back to this moment every time I see this.
Me too. Does that make sense, guys? So it makes things look bigger, right? So whether it's bigger than life, larger than life, or you just want the person who's viewing it to feel like it's large and big in their experience.
And they're standing right there.
They're standing there with it. So, and I love the word in that term that is mystery. So when you guys go out and pick up your camera and try this tip, imagine the fact that what you're giving your viewer to look at is not what you see. It's a very small amount of what you see, and you have your peripherals showing you everything else around you, right? So we're really forcing our brains to become aware and focused in the moment on the thing that matters most. And by choosing to cut out all the crap around it, you create mystery. You have no idea how big this tunnel is. So I'm going to tell you guys how big it is. This space, a normal vehicle would not have been able to fit between. I was driving a tiny little Mini Cooper convertible with the top down. And I guarantee you, Alicia could have stood up and have touched the ceiling from the inside. Yes, Kate, no way, she says. What the word that comes to mind for me is a bridge. Because it was like an old railroad. Yeah, it's a tunnel, but the whole space, like, if a car was under here, the front of the car would be on one side and the back of the car would be out. Like, the whole tunnel itself is very thin, but it had this huge brick wall, cement wall all the way down. It was just a cool shape. And we knew, because that tunnel was so tiny, it was so insignificant to the frame. And we're like, this doesn't look cool. The picture doesn't look interesting anymore because the tunnel was so tiny. So by getting closer, all of a sudden we could see under it. The sun was under it instead of above it where our normal perspective was. And she kept saying, get closer, get closer. And all of a sudden you couldn't see the top of the tunnel. You couldn't really see the ground. You couldn't see even right below where her viewfinder was, the edge of the car. And by cutting all that out, we now made it look like this was an enormous, massive, open space, and we're, insignificant. But the reality is very, very different. And that's...
Get in it to win it.
Sorry. We like our goofy sayings around here, I promise. So if you're going to join us tomorrow, get ready. You get it for 2 hours, and we're next to each other, so it could be way worse. Okay, so this is a landscape, guys. This is something to do with the landscape because you want to get as much in your scene as possible, right? So when you think about filling your frame, the key word in a landscape here is frame. What do you want on the edges? A lot of times I love to cut out the top of trees so that the horizon line sits higher, and it's okay that the tree is gone. So we're going to show you now how to fill your frame of a person, which is, I think, just as challenging because quite often when we're shooting people, we do one of two things. We either give way too much space, so then it's not really about the person at all, right? And so we're going to trick that. We're going to zoom in and fill our frame closer. But the other thing we do a lot of times is we cut off too much, right? And so we're going to kind of give you some psychology real quick as I do a demo on Alicia of where is a good place to fill your frame with a portrait, okay? Are you guys ready? Are you all with me? You ready for a little demo for what tomorrow's going to bring? All right, so, and all right, Diana's ready. And I think, Diana, you guys are joining us tomorrow for our portrait workshop. So if you see any little, bits of information, you want to give us some feedback about how we're demoing it, we'd really appreciate it, okay? Let us know if it goes well today, okay? So I'm shooting with my DSLR. I have a 24-70 2.8 lens on here, and it does zoom, okay? And know that the more you zoom in, yes, you're going to look closer, but we always want to get physically as close as we can first for that frame, okay? So I'm going to back out here, shoot down at Alicia a little bit, pull my hat up, and I am literally, we're going to show you these pictures afterwards, right? So notice how physically close I am, guys. I'm like within an arm's distance. I can poke her in the nose right now, okay? She's right there. By the way, even us sitting next to each other, this is weirdly close, okay? It looks normal to you guys, but we are very close together right now. Normally we'd be like talking like from back here, right? So this is another tip in this tip is you have to step out of your comfort zones a little bit if you really want to fill your frame and get that intimate portrait. Okay, so coming in close, right? Got my focal point over on her. I'm doing rule of thirds, and then maybe I'll just make a funny face, make her laugh for a minute. So I'm just going to show you these real quick. So notice how her head is cut off in that picture. You guys see that? How her, I know I'm going crooked on you, sorry. Do you see how we've cut off her head there? So, but notice how, even though I've cut off her head, I've left plenty of space under her chin, and we've made sure her shoulders are there. But again, the trick is cutting off at the head. You still want to leave a little hairline if you can, right? But I'm making it intimate. You feel like you're right there with her. Also notice how she's kind of leaning towards me. So one side of her face is a little closer. Sorry, I know it keeps going off on us. So I'm going to go to another one real quick. I backed out. Actually, I got in a little closer. Mm-hmm. You guys see what that means to fill your frame? Now, I could shoot her really cute full body sitting there on the couch. That wouldn't be a problem. But the idea to how you really create the story filled in is you kind of start back and you slowly get closer to where you feel like you've got that great frame where your whole frame is filled in, okay? So I wanna show them the pictures we just took with you and Leo. So my dog was up here a few minutes ago, and you can check him out on our Instagram too. He's obsessed with Alicia, let's just put it that way. So we get very little work done when Leo's hanging out with us. But he helped us in this moment. So I wanna give you this example too. All right. Here's a typical cute portrait of her and the dog, right? Just hanging out here on the couch. Now, this is not filled in, right? So when we want to fill in this frame, trying to go as straight as possible, there you go. Look how much closer I am. It's okay that I cut off her fingers, right? I even cut off her head a little bit. Now I got in even closer. How freaking cute is my dog? And Alicia too. Alicia's adorable. Now I got even closer. Look, I even cut off the dog's ear a little bit. I've cut off almost her entire headline. Her shoulders, her back is cut off. Even closer, right? So, and they're moving. So I am staying steady on my feet, and I am much faster. Look how much closer I am there. You are going to be much faster at creating confidence with this tip if you start creating your story from back here and physically move in. If you rely on doing this, you have to take 2 steps. You have to zoom and then re-click. But if you are doing this, it is so much more intuitive for your body to move and keep clicking at the same time, and you get way more options out of it. So we call it the dancing photographer, because we're like, all right, let's get this shot.
I know, sometimes I get dizzy.
So guys, did you like the demo? Do you guys get the idea of like just giving, it's an odd, fun, creative way to try and show you on the screen this physical distance, which matters a lot to filling our frame. And it's nice to see it happen. Good, Kate, I'm glad.
No, what you can also do is shoot through things. I tend to do that to create some sort of fuzziness around my photos, and it frames it as well.
So like if you put an object in front of you, right?
Yeah.
So if there was a fence here and then the portrait,
yeah,
you shoot through it, meaning shoot past it and put your focal point in your mid-ground or background.
Thing you guys can practice as well.
Yes.
So moving in, you don't have to guess.
Great question, Donna. If you are on a DSLR or mirrorless camera, something we teach in our beginner class is that your camera, when you press halfway down, if you guys have your cameras with you now, I want you to try this with me. This is a good trick. So our cameras only see light, right? They're not always open like our eyeballs are open. Yeah, it's open right now, but it's asleep. So when I wanted to wake up and focus and measure that light, I'm pressing halfway down. So I want you guys to feel what that feels like. Press halfway down and you will feel your autofocus on your lens, trying to focus on something. At the same time, it's measuring that light from that point, okay? So if I am moving, I am only pressing down halfway to refocus while I move. And if she happens to be at a great point when I want to snap, I've already pressed halfway down. It's already refocused. I can just snap again. So I call it being trigger happy. My finger is constantly pressing halfway down and refocusing. Now, Alicia uses back button focus, which is a totally different concept. We can definitely teach that in a lesson later on, but it allows you to do the same thing even quicker, where you can focus while you are just clicking.
I don't know what I would do about it, to be honest. I mean, to go halfway is nice too, but I'm so used to that back button. And I think I do it on every photo, to be honest, because it's so quick and easy.
Yeah, so she's basically, instead of halfway down and then click, which are two different things you're doing, she's got a separate button for the halfway down, if you will, on the back, which most cameras can be set up for back button focus. You guys can look that up on your camera if you want. But great question, Donna. The key here is to build this fluid movement and get out of our heads. Because let me tell you, you look and feel like a fool the first time and you're in your head and you're going, oh my God, I look ridiculous. I can't believe I'm this close to someone. This is stupid. I can see the nose hairs inside her nose. Like, you feel awkward how close you can get sometimes. And then you realize, wait, this is exactly what I want. This is what I'm going for.
Get in there.
Get in there, okay? So fill your frame, guys. We are, this is huge for portraits. I know for many of us who like landscapes, I want you guys to think of this tip as a creative way to step out of the normal landscape, right? We can always use rule of thirds and play with that horizon line. But when it comes to changing the way we see a landscape, this is a great example, right? I mean, there wasn't much prettiness about that landscape. It was farmland and it was pretty flat. We created a cool experience from it. So try and use fill your frame to get in close, step out of your comfort zone, and see the tiny details in things. Again, it's about mystery, creating intimacy, and another word I like to think of is like vulnerability. So you think of things that are small and you're bringing them bigger. So you're bringing them out. Babies, newborns, I know.
Your objects closer so they look like larger than life.
Yeah,
I mean,
right. Exactly.
But they look real life. You want to get in it, present moment.
Yeah. I bet you guys have shots. I have them on my phone especially. You have shots of something and then you look at it later and you realize the whole thing that you were focused on is only taking up about a third of your whole picture, right? And there's all this empty stuff around there. So I am constantly going, oh crap, I can take a closer shot. I can get closer, right? And that's the idea of filling your frame. Take a shot and then get closer. Diana's asking, do you use a specific ISO shutter and aperture on portrait types of shoots? Yeah, let me ask you, Diana, have you taken our beginner class? Are you, or for an even bigger question for everyone is, are you at all, you don't have to feel great at it, but are you shooting in manual mode? Do you guys know, I want to know from everyone who's here with us now, if you have a DSLR or mirrorless camera, are you practicing in manual mode? Okay, great. So you are shooting in manual mode now. Perfect. So manual mode, good. Donna's in manual, Lucia, perfect. Yeah. I love it. So manual mode is important for certain types of portraits, right? It's where we take creative control of not just the light, but also the creativity, the fun of our story. So Diana's asking, do we use specific settings for a portrait story? And the answer is yes, of course, okay? So maybe we'll do this to kind of wrap up this class. I want to tell you guys a little bit about our classes we're teaching this weekend because I've got my bestie right here with me. We were going to be doing this in studio. We've been having fun with these online classes. So once a year, we come together and we do a very special, fun beginner portrait photography workshop. And basically, when we're in the studio, it's 4 to 5 hours of just complete immersion into what it feels like to move around, manhandle your camera, get in close, step out of that comfort zone, and look at what good light looks like on a portrait, angles. So we're basically, what we've been doing for the last 2 days is bringing you the best of that workshop into an online presentation where then we're going to demonstrate a lot of what we would be doing in the class. So we're going to go over posing. We're going to go over direction and how you direct someone. We're going to go over framing and what it feels like to balance out a portrait. We're going to talk about cropping and where you crop a portrait. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. Lighting, where the good lighting is, how to create your own lighting. We're going to hopefully try a demo a little bit with a reflector as well to show you some more advanced lighting techniques. But the idea here is if you are off auto mode, you will understand and love this class, because that's exactly what we're going to do, Diana, is we're going to show you this formula for portraits. We're going to show you the settings and what we like to call safe zones or danger zones, where you realize maybe in your specific scenario, hey, I need a higher ISO or a faster shutter speed or a lower aperture. And you're realizing, but because it's a portrait, I have to consider other things, right? Laura's going to join us. Good, Laura.
Yeah.
If your daughter, you know, I know that your daughter came to our visual storytelling class and she was just getting off auto then, but if she wants to join, please tell her she will love the portrait class. She should not feel like that she's missing out on anything or she needs more information first. Everybody, and keep in mind, if you are an M, but you still feel a little unconfident, that's okay too, because we're going to spend the first 10 or 15 minutes reviewing manual mode as we build the beginning of a portrait formula, okay? So good, let her know, Laura, she would love it. She can join us. And
I'm going to post the link just in case.
Yeah, so Alicia's going to get on right now and post the link to so tomorrow's class, 10 to noon, is the portrait workshop. It's $50. And the Lightroom workshop, which I haven't even gotten to telling you guys about today, but I'm super excited about that one too. We're going to be teaching photo organization and editing in Lightroom. It's the most powerful computer program for photo editing that's out there. All the pros use it, but we don't want you guys to feel like that means you can't understand it too. So we're going to be teaching that class from 2 to 4 tomorrow. It's also $50. If you take both classes, we will give you guys a $25 gift card to any future class you want to take with us, okay? So join us 10 to noon and 2 to 4 tomorrow. Morning will be portrait. You guys come to get some lunch, maybe go to portraits, and you can join us in the afternoon. Use those pictures you've taken, maybe even in the class, to learn how to organize your entire computer and digital files, and also how do you edit these photos to really pop and look like great shots. So Alicia's posted both of those in there. It's livewonderful.com. And actually, I just realized she posted the ones to our website. For tomorrow's class specifically, guys, go to livewonderful.clickmeeting.com. So let me reiterate, the site that she just posted, the first two, we're going to be teaching these classes more, okay? So we're going to be offering them through our website. I'm building out those pages now. But for tomorrow's classes, just head straight to our webinar website, okay? So it's livewonderful.clickmeeting.com, and you will see the Lightroom class and the beginner portrait class there available for you, okay? And if you have any trouble, just give us a shout. hello@livewonderful.com. We are always here for you guys. And we're ready for tomorrow, I think. What do you guys think? Are you guys ready? Do you like this setup? Do you think we got it? Oh, we'll make our blanket a little bit prettier. So this is where we're going to be tomorrow, okay? Donna's ready for it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, go fill your frame. Go get your phone or your camera out right now. It is a gorgeous day in Central Florida. And go practice. Even go practice just to join us for photo editing. Go shoot. Even if you're not into portraits, go shoot. Join us for editing, and let's have fun. Fill your frame. Go have fun with these photo tips. We will see you guys.
Excited to see you.
We'll see you guys tomorrow for the classes. And don't forget, next week.
Enjoy your bike ride.
Oh, good. Yeah, go take your bike. Oh, we should go on a bike ride with the camera. That's a great idea. So don't forget, next week is our last week of these classes. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon, 30 to 45 minutes we're on here. So we have 3 more big tips to send your way. Okay, guys? We'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.